truth seeker? Do you like hip-hop? Are you interested in all the mysteries of mankind and nature and asking all those life-examining questions that demand answers? Or maybe you're destined to check out Destiny Lab by going to destinylab.com, where you'll find music that glorifies God and exposes the very roots of all the deceptions that we face today. Issues like creation versus evolution, aliens and UFOs, the fallen angels and the Nephilim, the paranormal realm, the New Age and the occult, the Illuminati and the New World Order, transhumanism and artificial intelligence, and how all these things tie together and are explained in the Word of God. Dig into the truth and go to destinylab.com and learn more about a ministry that's making a difference, exposing these issues that no one else is talking about. Pick up our 4th album by pre-ordering it at patreon.com/destinylab. You'll get behind the scenes footage of Destiny Lab, never before seen live performances, access to brand new music. You'll be able to see videos before they're released publicly, remixes of songs that you've never heard before, and you may even get a shout out on this podcast. We also now have available t-shirts, hoodies, hats, mugs, phone covers, all available for Ark and Neo and Destiny Lab in our shop at destinylab.com. Go there today to support a ministry that's trying to make a difference, expose the deceptions, and promote truth. God bless. Hello and welcome to Digging for the Truth with Ark and Neo, episode number 28. And tonight we're going to talk about some personal experiences that myself and Neo had growing up. Neo and myself are brothers, so we grew up in the same household, so experienced a lot of the same things growing up. So, and one of the things we experienced was a very interesting encounter with some satanic activity around our area. So we're going to get kind of into that. How you doing tonight, Neo?
Doing great. Glad we got another episode going. So yeah, this should be an interesting episode, kind of going back in time and reminiscing on things that happened that were kind of creepy,
Yeah.
especially when you look back on it.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of interesting when you look back in life about the things that God allows you to go through. And at the time you just think, oh, this is life, no big deal. But then you look back and you look at all the weird situations that we've been in that really are kind of, made us who we are today, and investigating these things and have the interest that we do. So it's like God prepares you ahead of time before you even know it.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just, I'll talk about the area. There's grew up in a small town, and there's a giant irrigation pipe that they call the siphon. And I actually did a little research on it because I didn't, we lived close to it, but I didn't have a lot of information about, what it was about. But it turns out that this is an 80-year-old siphon. It was built in 1939. And it's 4.3 miles long, that carries 325 cubic feet per second of water. So basically what it does, it carries water from one side of the valley to the other side, and it's actually the world's longest siphon.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't know that.
The world's longest siphon?
The world's longest, yep.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just a giant pipe, metal pipe, and they bring down water, and it just kind of dumps into this pipe. So there's a giant irrigation canal with lots and lots of water. I mean, it's almost like a river, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's about, what would you say, about 10 feet, around 12 feet? Maybe not that high, 8 feet tall?
Oh, the siphon. Yeah, the siphon is 8 foot diameter.
8 foot diameter, yeah. It's a giant tube.
Yeah.
And half the year it, has water in it, and the other half of the year it has no water in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, growing up, our mom would say, don't go down near the ditch, because always thought
they're running for the ditch.
Yeah, we're running for the ditch. We're just going to run and jump in, and, which would be, absolutely terrifying. I mean, because you got this
you'd
water.
Be dead.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you could get out of it. So the water's rushing, getting faster and faster, and then if you don't get out of the water, you're going down a tube for a 4 mile ride in complete darkness and just getting beat up the whole time. And it's
Yeah.
creepy. I went to the other
Well,
side when I was in high school, and there was a dead sheep floating around on the other side that
yeah,
probably
just
went through it. Yeah, and I've heard
mutilated.
of, and I know one of our horses we figure went down the siphon
Yeah,
because it
we
just got
lost an
sold. We
old
never
horse.
we never found it. I mean, there's no other place it could have gone.
Yeah,
Um,
this ditch kind of ran the parameter of my parents' whole property, and so these horses were enclosed in that property, and the only place they could have gone is through that ditch. And this is really old horse. I mean, it was probably senile and ready to be put down, but it just turned up missing, and we assume it must have went down the siphon. I know that cows have gone down it. I've seen I remember seeing a dead dog floating down the river and just happened to be there. Saw it go down
Yeah.
the siphon, just a body of a dog. I mean, but going down the siphon, if it goes down it, then it goes uphill. Then this is an enclosed tube. And as it starts to go uphill a couple miles down, that's where the water probably just churns. And I mean, it would just be ripping a body apart inside there, hitting the walls back and forth. And that's what I hear. If a cow goes through, it just kind of just turned into hamburger on the other side.
Yep. Yeah, it's a dangerous place, and I don't know of many other places that have something like this. But the experiences we had. So when the water wasn't in it, you could explore in it. So it's like a cave. I can't remember the first time I went in there, but it's actually extremely spooky because of the sounds that emanate from it.
Yeah. There's an actual bridge down about a mile, and it goes under the freeway. And so whenever a large truck, like a semi truck, goes over that, it creates a vibration through the whole siphon tube, and just it sounds like a roar.
Yeah.
I remember it's so fun to take friends there, because that would be happening about every 5-10 minutes or so.
Yep.
Whenever a semi would go over it, and so you'd be taking some friends down there for the first time and just waiting for the roar to happen.
Yep.
And I would tell my friends some sort of spooky story, hey, they say that there's something that lives down here, and every once in a while you can hear it, roar. I've never heard it, but if you hear anything, you better start running. Or I tell people that the water came from the other side. So I'd say, hey, if you hear any sounds, that means the water's coming, man. So we got to start running.
Oh yeah, no, I remember all that. Yeah, it would be the ultimate Halloween freak out thing, because it would absolutely freak people out. I mean, even after you've been in there and you expect it, it's still freaky.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's a creepy place, and even like I said, growing up around it and being so used to it, because we went in there, probably hundreds of times, and but when you take a friend there, you could really creep them out.
Oh yeah.
And it was kind of the go-to spot as well for partying. So on the weekends, this was out in the middle of the country, and it was right off the edge of this property, and there was a really kind of a view out there. So people would go out there and park with friends and drink, and they would be partying it up down there. And sometimes my dad would have to go down there and run them off if they got too rowdy. But that was kind of a regular thing to hear, kind of people down there on the weekends every once in a while, partying it up as well. But it was usually just kids hanging out until this one time. So I think it might be interesting is have you tell how you remember it, because we haven't even discussed our memories here. I want to see how much they overlap.
Oh yeah.
Sort of have you kind of tell what you remember, and I'll tell how I remember.
Okay. Well, I actually remembered one other freaky thing about it, just to kind of
set the stage here.
So when you go into this, you're going down at like a pretty steep angle from the entrance, and as you go down, it's at the beginning, it's cement walls, and it's kind of dripping and cold, kind of like you'd envision inside of a cave.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you walk down quite a ways, and then it starts to flatten out a little bit, and you can freak the people out because you can say that, you know, that's a giant worm that actually lives down there, and we're actually going into its belly. And then when it turns to metal, they painted the inside of the metal to reduce
Red.
oxidation, and it was blood red.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And the red would be there, and it'd be, the condensation would be dripping. It was very cold too. Even if it was hot outside, it would be cold in the siphon, because it was very, very hot in the summer. I mean, 100 degrees was nothing there. It was always hot.
Yeah.
So, but inside it was like, you know, going underground in a cave. It was just a creepy deal. But so yeah, let me just set the stage. So we it was just a year. I think we were in high school, and we just went down to the siphon. Can't remember why we were doing it. Maybe we're just gonna, you know, freak out some friends or something again. And as we went in, you know, there'd be like, when there wasn't any water, there'd be like kind of debris around and stuff like that. And like I said, there's people that partied there sometimes, and so there'd be cans down there. And but there was some weird drawings on the entrance of the siphon, and I can't actually remember what they looked like, but I think there were kind of some pyramid shapes and some weird writing. I think, and I think they wrote in chalk, "We want your beer."
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had to do with this incident or not, but they said that as well.
Yeah, I mean, somebody may have wrote that some other time because there's always people in there, but you never know. We were, once we saw this stuff, we kind of investigated more.
Yeah, so we started going down into the pit. And we saw a dead animal, and so we got a little closer, and it was a cat. It was a house cat, and you know, and that happened. I mean, there's sometimes just dead animals in there that just kind of die or crawl in there or whatever. But then we noticed that the cat had ropes tied to it, and it looked like it had been cut. Like it wasn't just smashed, like somebody actually cut it. And we're going, whoa, this is kind of weird. So we went down a little bit further, and the first thing we noticed, there was logs erected in this giant thing that formed a cross. And on the cross was another cat that was tied up in, I guess, some kind of crucifixion looking type thing. And that really freaked us out. That really freaked me out. I mean, that was just bizarre. You're just like looking there, go, what happened here? I mean, we're this close to our house, and there was something this evil going on. I mean, Satanists, you know, I'd heard stories of, you know, some, you know, witches and Satanists and stuff, but it's nothing that I'd ever experienced or seen, or, you know, it was just always rumors, you know, oh, if you go to this graveyard on this and this date, you know, you might see them in their capes, you know, but you never knew if it was true, you know. I didn't really know anybody that had seen any of that firsthand, but so when I saw it, it was just a really freaky deal. And, you know, it brought Dad down, and then I think we even called the sheriff. And the sheriff came down and took some reports. I don't think they ever figured anything out, because I don't remember ever hearing back from them.
No, they didn't get back with us. I was going to actually, I know some guys that are that actually work in the sheriff's department there in the town. I was actually going to call one of my buddies there and see if how far the information goes back, and see if they still had any information.
Oh yeah,
still may
that'd
do
be
that.
cool.
Still may do that just as a follow up and see if I can find anything there. But yeah, no. So I remember a little bit more information as well. And you know, so is that all you remember pretty much, or?
That's pretty much. I do have one more thing, but I'll wait to the end, because I don't know if you know this either. So
so this is how I remember it. I remember actually we were driving, and it was, I don't know exactly who I was with. I remember either with Mom or with you. I don't know if we were going to school or what, but we were driving. We came around the edge of the siphon, and there's actually a fence that goes around the siphon. That's like kind of a fence to fence it off so people don't fall off into it. And right on the edge of the fence line, there was a dead cat, and it had a rope around its neck.
Oh, no, I
And
do
it
remember
was
that.
and it was gutted right there on the outside of the siphon. And we were both, and we kind of like, what in the world? You know, did somebody like literally tie up this cat and kill it? That's horrible, you know? And, you know, and then we kept going around the edge and we saw another cat like over on the other edge of the siphon. Same thing. And it's like was gutted down the stomach. And, you know, I can't
Yeah.
remember if the guts were pulled out or if it just had no guts. And so that's when we went down into the siphon and we started going down in there and we saw that up, you know, the upside down cross with the cat. And there, if I remember right, the cat was actually duct taped to this wood. And there was
Yep.
also a pile of clothes sitting there. There were some candles there, and there was an actual piece of paper that was written in red ink in like almost like a double calligraphy kind of writing that said literally like welcome to the hellhole. This is your first introduction to almost like a some sort of a ritualistic introduction to, you know, somebody into this, you know,
Yep.
satanic group
Man, I
or
have forgot a
something.
lot.
And then there was one other thing is there was a cutouts in the form that looked kind of like the form of a gingerbread man out of brown paper bags. So somebody had taken a brown paper bag and cut it out in the form of a human, just a head with arms and legs, and it had excrement wiped all over it, like human excrement, like somebody had wiped their butt with it or something.
Wow.
And I
I don't
remember just
remember that.
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah. And I remember, you know, we called the sheriff, and one of the sheriffs wouldn't even go down in there. And he said, yeah, we've seen this stuff more than you think. On the other side, we've had calls, and they've had mutilated goats. On the other side, they found a goat head. And this is literally some group that's out there that there's more occult activity than people know. And this is a really small town, you know, and so we were really freaked out because that's within, you know, half mile of our house.
Oh yeah.
So, it was, and I think that's all I remember is that. But I remember, I wish we would have taken a picture of all that stuff. And I remember one more thing is that you went down there with some paint and wrote above the siphon, "Cat killers beware."
Oh yeah. Yep. I did see that. Yeah. I wanted to take them on.
Yeah,
I didn't
and that was
care.
there for years.
Yep.
You can still see that.
And I don't think they ever came back.
I don't think they came back. So yeah, they knew they were being watched.
I remember that now, yeah, because they were saying, because I remember the when the when the sheriff came down there, he goes, and what's that mean? And you go, oh, I wrote that.
Yeah.
He just kind of shook his head. So, you know, I
scare him off.
Yeah. As your beware.
And it was like all in blood red too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in the wild days.
Yep. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that was a creepy account, you know, and I don't think a lot of people go with that stuff. And not only that, you know, we were raised in a household, you know, really Bible believing household where the pastor, like, remember Pastor Buzzard, he actually taught a lot about like the angelic warfare and actually talked about like the fallen angels and the Nephilim.
Yep.
And some stuff that you know, a lot of churches don't really talk about, I guess. And we also listen to a lot of like, you know, I know Bob Larson, although he's, you know, kind of kooky, you know, weird stuff like that. And I know Dad was introduced us into Kent Hovind, and then you got into Kent Hovind and Chuck Missler and introduced me to that. So it's just, you know, all these things kind of compounded from our own personal experiences and interests that we were going through. So pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that was you know, strange account. Now I don't know if I've even ever told you this, but I was playing summer baseball in Legion. And so in Legion baseball, our town is so small that we had to team up with like two or three other towns, and then we'd be able to play the bigger schools in Idaho. And what I was telling the story to some of the some of my teammates, and one of the kids there said that was me.
What?
Yeah. He said, yeah, that was me and my friends. We take girls up there to scare them. That's
And
what
we'd kill cats and set up like giant ritual sites. I mean, that must have taken definitely more than one person to set all that up. They with those big, because if I remember right, weren't they like I mean, they were huge logs. It seems like they were almost even railroad ties or something. I can't remember exactly what they're.
They were pretty rough hewn stuff. I don't know if they. It seems like it's like a really old fence post to me.
Okay, maybe so.
They may have just found that stuff around instead of bringing it. I think they probably just found, tore down an old fence somewhere. But yeah, who knows? Maybe they did a few times. But yeah, that kid, I'm not going to say his name. I don't know if I remember his real name, but yeah, that's what he claimed it was him. And I don't know. I didn't ever have any follow up about it. He didn't seem like he was an evil guy or anything. I mean, he's just, just a regular kid.
Interesting. You never know. I mean, I know that, there's other talk about like I know there was a cemetery you may not know that was well known that on certain days that you could go out there and literally there was a group of occultists that would meet out there, like you said, and you could just see this group of people out there in robes.
Yeah, one of the stories that I heard is that it was from one of my friend's big brothers, and they went there. This probably in the early 80s. And, and they went there, and they were all in black with BB guns, and they were shooting them. And then somehow they saw them, and they started chasing them. They all had to run, and like one of them like almost broke his leg on a tombstone running out of there. So but they just thought it was funny. I mean, they just wanted to go in there and just bug him. And I mean, that could have been true. I don't know. But his brother did have a banged up leg, and that's what they said. He goes, "Oh yeah," but I was maybe in junior high when they were telling these stories.
Yeah, so you don't know how much of it is.
Yeah, they might have been trying to scare us. But I've heard that a lot. I mean, there's many people that heard the same story.
Totally. I heard it from more than one person, the camp, that there were people out there that went to that cemetery. And so the other thing is, I don't know if you remember our older brother. We have an older brother named Rich. Do you remember the story he told about a friend that had been invited to some sort of party, and it literally, when he showed up, there were people there in robes doing some sort of occult ritual, and he basically ran out halfway through it?
Yeah, I can't remember that story, but I
mean, you hear some of these things and you wonder, how much is true, but we actually experienced firsthand a small portion of the fact that people are out there in these towns, in very small areas doing this. So if it happens in this area, it's happening all over the place,
And I've actually had two other two other sites that I found. I do a lot of fishing, and both of them are in the middle of nowhere. So I'll kind of tell you what I saw. So one of them's on the Mutilated River, and it's on the part where you have to walk several miles in. It's on the lower river, and you have to come at it from the Lake Billy Chinook. But if you walk back far enough, there's an area where there's an old campsite there, and we came across it at one time, and someone had set up with stones a pentagram. And so and it had been there for several years, because I fished that for several years after that. And then later, here's the interesting thing though. Later, I went back there and I was fishing with another friend. I said, and he was a pastor, and I said, hey, on this river one time I found this pentagram that was on a story. He goes, really? I've seen it before, because he'd fished that river, and it goes, we turned it into the fish symbol. So they said they tore it down and turned it into the fish symbol. And then, so when I went back next time, that was the thing I saw. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Smart
the other
world.
one though was creepier because it was very recent. And this is on the McKenzie River. And I was just kind of exploring it, going down these roads. And so I went down this one road. It wasn't a private road, but it came to a bridge, and there was very few bridges that go across the river there. It was actually a private bridge. It had a fence on it. You couldn't get past that area. So I decided to fish beneath the bridge. So I parked, and I was the only one there. I mean, there was nobody else there, and I was by myself. But so fished for a while, and then I started looking down at my side, and there was these bones sitting there, and they're actually pretty fresh. They look like those little dog treats that have the little marrow in the middle of them.
Yeah.
So it looked like they took like a femur of something that had a lot of marrow and just cut it up into little discs, like little discs of it. And there was just a ton of them there. And they're all sitting there kind of, not really a pattern, kind of on the edge of the water. And so I started looking around a little bit more, and then hanging on this bush is this weird, it's almost like, those Indian things they make with sticks and stuff. I can't, moon catchers or
like a dream catcher.
Dream catcher. Yeah, it looked like some kind of a weird dream catcher, and it had some of those same kind of bones interwoven with it. And some of the branches on that were still green. So I mean, they made it with stuff that they found at this place. And then I looked underneath it, and there was more bones that were bigger. And they'd obviously been brought there, and something was done with those bones. You could see that there were some kind of hacking and saw marks on some of the bones. I looked around for anything else could do it, and I actually have pictures of that. So I actually took pictures of some of the things I saw. Yeah,
we'll kind of add it to the description or to the pictures here. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the what's that movie called where it's supposed to be a reality show, and they're out in the woods, and what's that called? That famous show. That. Well, it's like where they're out in the woods, and they keep finding all these things like that, like these woven pieces of bone and sticks and stuff in these trees hanging. They are upside down crosses and weird stuff that look kind of occultic, or like some witch was doing it. And so the Blair Witch Project. That's
I've never seen that. It was just never wanted to. Too freaky.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid, but
I heard later just people running around with flashlights underneath their chins.
Yeah, pretty much.
With a camera in their face.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, I did have an update on our last one about the Trump prophecies and 777, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So, J.R. Church used to have a prophecy in the news. I don't know if you've heard of him before. So, and I'm pretty sure he's died. But a guy named Gary Stearman was one of his hosts with him, and I always liked listening to them. They were pretty good. They were on the radio and stuff. So I went to their site, and they said the Trump Cyrus coin minted in Israel. That was the headline. So I go, what? What is this? So I looked it up, and the group that's wanting to build the third temple in Jerusalem minted this to help raise funds and to
which group?
Well, it's the group.
There like several groups.
I don't know.
Rebuild the temple.
Yeah, who knows? But I mean, it's going to get rebuilt in the end times. We know that's going to happen. So
yeah,
they believe that this is taking them closer to that time, and they've got a coin that they made that has King Cyrus, who allowed the Jewish exiles in Babylon to go back and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. And then it has Donald Trump on it as well. And this is what Benjamin Netanyahu said about the coin. He says this is a quote from him. "I want to tell you that the Jewish people have a long memory. So we remember the proclamation of the great King Cyrus the Great, the Persian king 2,500 years ago. He proclaimed that the Jewish exiles in Babylon could come back and rebuild our temple in Jerusalem. We remember 100 years ago, Lord Balfour, who issued the Balfour Proclamation that recognized the rights of the Jewish people in our ancestral homeland. We remember 70 years ago, President Harry S. Truman was the first leader to recognize the Jewish state. And we remember how a few weeks ago, President Donald J. Trump recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Mr. Trump, this will be remembered by our people through the ages. And that was from their leader. He's the leader of their country. And this coin has been minted with kind of the superimposed, Trump, and then on the
Trump's
back,
face.
Trump's face and Cyrus' face, because it's a really big deal for that. It's just like them becoming a nation. Now there's a first leader ever in the world to recognize Jerusalem as their capital. Because remember, Jerusalem, you've got the Muslims saying it's their capital. They're fighting over it. And so Trump said, no, this is their land. It's always been, this is the Jewish land. It always has been, always will be. The invaders, Trump didn't say that, but that's what the Islamic State, they are the invaders that want to take it over and desecrate things. But anyway, it's a big deal. So I thought that was kind of interesting that the Jewish people are recognizing Donald Trump as playing a part in what could be
interesting
rebuilding the third temple. So getting closer.
So who does the Bible say rebuilds the third temple?
Well, they don't say a person rebuilds it, but it's just a huge landmark when it is rebuilt.
Does it say that that's like a positive thing to happen, or?
Yeah. Okay. So,
because that's when they start ushering in, the Jews start actually ushering in sacrificing animals again in the temple, correct? They're going to start sacrificing animals just like in the old ways. They've got the entire setup to begin that entire system, and it's
they got the red heifer, the priests in training. Here's what's really that I had not heard this anywhere else on that Gary Sturman interview. These people that have issued the coin apparently have also said that they have the Ark of the Covenant, and they are not releasing that they have it because they're afraid that somebody's going to come try to take it. But they say they have it, and when they build the temple, it will be brought in. So they already have it. There's all these people trying to find the Ark of the Covenant. The old Indiana Jones looking for it, and all these other treasure hunters, but they say they already have it. So who knows? I mean, there's a lot of, you don't really know exactly what's going on with some of the things, but it is interesting to, look to see what's happening today, which could possibly be, fulfillment of prophecy, or at least getting us closer.
Well, one of my fears has always been, I think there's a reason that the Bible isn't concrete on saying certain dates or certain times and certain things, because then people try to make those things happen. And I know that building of the third temple is one of those things, and raising the heifer and all these things. I think people, they understand that that's in prophecy, and they want all right, well, let's help God out here and move things along. And I don't know how much I like that. I don't like that.
And I don't think that's the way it works. I think God's proven that anytime man tries to do what he thinks is God's work, and he goes, it's because that's what they say. Well, we have to do it because it's God's plan. If we don't make it happen, and so they'll just do anything, including evil, to make it happen. And that's where all these things happen. But I think God in the Bible has rebuted, he said, no, that's not the way it's going to happen. Usually when prophecy is fulfilled, you can't tell that it was fulfilled until after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I mean, and people, I've had people contact me that say, I'm trying to find out how I can become a prophet and find out the secret information. I'm like, that's not how it works, dude. You don't seek out becoming a prophet and make it happen. God is the one that's going to seek you out and make that happen, whether you like it or not. And the people that are trying to make things happen or become prophets through some sort of works or secret knowledge that they're going to find out, or or something that they're going to do to bring into this elevated state of direct knowledge with God. They're being, deceived, I believe. So, one of the most. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that's one of the criticisms of the Trump number stuff is that all those numbers, Trump could have fulfilled them on purpose, and he probably did. He probably, it was, like all the 70 date, but some of the things he couldn't, he can't control the
some things you can't.
date. He doesn't have control of his birthday. I mean, being exactly 70 years, 7 months, 7 days old when he's inaugurated, that's
only take that so far.
That's a coincidence, but when the coincidence stacks up, you're going, whoa. But some of the things, you can. I think they call it a tautology. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy where you make it happen, which kind of invalidates that it's really prophetic.
Yeah. Well, one of the most common things that I get questions about, it seems odd, but I get tons of questions from people asking me about whether I'm on the side of Israel or not. And don't I know that Israel's all fake, and hijacked by the Ashkenazis Jews and the Khazars, and these are all, all fake Jews. And, and that's something to like be on guard for, or anything like that. Cause it's like, you think about it, it's the same type of thing. It's like if somebody, it seems like, we grew up in a church where we were always told, we as Christians, we are to be on the side of the Jews, especially during the end times. You need to be aligned with the state of Israel and the Jewish people. Well, I could see, if a lot of people knew that, who hated Christians, you'd just be like, oh, really? You have to agree with anything the Jewish state says? Okay, well, let's create this fake Jewish state and basically trick all these Christians into doing exactly what we say. Because after all, you've got to agree with anything Israel does. So, I think that's kind of the argument. But then I go back to like what you said, God doesn't bless anything that he's not actually behind, So, and the state of Israel has definitely been blessed. Yeah, exactly. So,
that's like today's flawed logic where everything's grouped. So if one Jewish person does something bad, they're all bad. But that's not the case. There's bad and good in every single group of people. And there's some bad Jewish people. I mean, there is. I mean, George Soros is a Jew, but he turned in his own Jews. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff, but that doesn't mean they're all bad. I mean, there's and God's going to use who he's going to use. That's the thing. And Israel state is supposed to be a state. That's prophetic. Chuck Missler had some amazing prophetic things that were recent, about the founding of Israel. And some of those prophecies are just beyond. I think one of his tapes that we said was called Beyond Coincidence. It's like what we talked about previously. You get all these things happening, and sooner or later that can't be coincidence. I mean, it's prophesied. Here it happened. Here it happened. Here it happened. Here it happened. All those things couldn't have happened by chance.
Yeah, it becomes an integrated code because it's repeated so many times that even if you remove chunks of it here and there, it still tells the exact same message.
Yeah, just like a hologram. Yeah. So, and that it's it's really amazing how God works. But I don't quite understand that either of why, but a lot of people attack the Jewish state, and
the Jews have always been attacked. I mean, that's where I go back. It's like, well, of course that they're being attacked. Of course people hate Israel. And that's the other thing is I tell people is like, look at the people that hate Israel. They're all, all these super liberally minded, pro-Palestinian, pro-Muslim groups. And how can you side on the side of Muslim and say that that's the side of good too? I mean, it's like, how far would this deception go, and how many people would have to be involved to make this fake state of Israel work? And it's not only that; it's all the things that happened around 1947. There's a lot of things that happened around that time that seem very prophetic. That has ushered in and brought us to the place we're at right now. So you've got to look at everything as a whole and not kind of pick and choose. And we've got to realize all this all this anti-Christian propaganda, all the anti-Jewish propaganda. It's kind of like the Black Israelites, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, are they
you really
Israelites?
look into you look into their arguments, and they're just, I mean, they're literally laughable. It's like, wow, you guys are really like just complete confirmation bias, 100%, just like have this bias, confirm it, don't look at anything else, and just go down this crazy path. I mean,
that was the group that attacked the Covington High School kids.
Yeah.
And tell them that they were gonna pull out their guts and their incest babies.
But nobody said anything bad about them at all.
That's fine. They can say that because, according to the leftist view,
they're the victims.
Yeah, blacks can't be racist. That's you can only, you're a racist if you're white, no matter what, and it's impossible for a black to be racist. That's literally what they believe. So they think if you are black, you can do whatever you want. You can be as hateful as you want, but anybody with common sense knows that's crazy, and that's why they're losing. That's why the black support of Trump is tripled. I mean, because black people are good family people. I mean, they've had the strongest back in the 1920s. They had the lowest divorce rate of any group in the United States. They had the strongest family unit until the ghettoization, when the Democrats started taking over. And that's what's ruined, is these Democrats and their ghettoization and their welfare programs. And
they've ruined entire cities.
They want the family, and lots of propaganda. It's hurt as they've attacked those people, and it's just horrible.
And that's what abortion was all about, was getting rid of black babies being born. I mean, you look at you look at these liberally minded cities like Seattle and San Francisco that are just gone in ruins. I mean, they just literally just have
they're gone
feces and homeless people and drug needles on every street corner. I mean, people are just embarrassed
just
to even stay there from those areas.
It's the cities, the Democrat controlled cities are some of the worst places on the planet. They're so dirty. So much. I mean, and here's the bad thing. Those leftists live there. So they're supposed to be the ones that are for the poor, and they have the biggest income gap of any group by far. They're in these large cities are the extremely wealthy and the extremely poor. There's no middle class at all in the big cities. I mean, none. You're either on welfare,
that's how they want
homeless. Yeah, exactly.
And that's how the Illuminati, one world plan has always been that way. The elitist propaganda is all about making the slaves and then the elitists.
Yeah, that's what socialism's about. If we allow the Green New Deal and all this other craziness to take place, in essence, it's you get a few people in charge that take control of all resources on the planet. I mean, they just declare we are the owners of everything. They take whatever they want, and then if there's anything left over, they might give the rest of the people something, but usually they don't. That's how it always is. I mean, there's nothing fair about it. It's not equal parts spread out to everybody. No, the people at the top take everything, and if there's anything left, you might get something.
Then they'll redistribute it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's exactly the way corporations work. It's like people think that they're getting bonuses at the end of the year, or that they're getting I get all these benefits. It's like, that's all taken out of your check. Every bit of that is taken out of your check in one way or another, in some way.
And then they get a tax break for doing that.
They just trick
it's
people.
A way for them to, that's how they're giving to charity. They're giving back to their employees by taking it out of their paycheck. And then, like you just said, they get the tax break. Yeah, there's a lot of dirty tricks, and I think our whole society is showing that. You got media rigging everything. You got about 4, 5, 6 people on Fox that are still trying to tell the truth, and everybody else is just lying. It's just everything's a lie. They're rigging everything
on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane. It really is. I mean, it's just incredible that we live in this world. But I think it's a symptom of our society, and that that happens in business. Everything's just the people that rig stuff, that lie, they come out on top more often than
Yeah.
not.
Well,
And
they're the
there's no penalty.
programmers.
I mean,
Yeah,
look at the
Yep.
Smoletter. There's a new word. If you rig something, you're Smoletting, I think. So Jesse Smollett.
It's become a word.
Yep. Smoletting.
Vocabulary.
Oh, and they took down somebody's Twitter for hate mail for calling Smollett, for saying that. That's true story too. That's how
Wow.
insane. That's another insanity. But he got no penalty.
Yeah, it's amazing.
His whole record was expunged. It's never on his record. I mean, he committed fraud, hate crimes. I mean, federal felony for sending fake mail.
Yeah. I mean, when people do this exact same crimes and then you completely treat them differently, that's what makes that creates racism. That creates divisiveness, because it makes people feel like, hey, the whole system's rigged, it's unfair, and that's what they're doing right now. It's the programmers are creating, it's the program, it's the whole Hegelian dialectic of creating the program, the reaction, and the solution. And they've already come up with the solution that they're going to sell us. So they've got to create the problem, and then create the two sides that are battling between us, make us hate each other as much as possible, so they can usher in their one world,
Hegelian dialectic.
Yep, order out of chaos. I got a song called "Order Out of Chaos" that I'm just in the process of doing right now. It'll be on the next album. So
nice, that'll be a great one.
Yep. But yeah, it's kind of crazy what's going on, and I don't know what any of this had to do with the siphon, but hey,
hey, just
it's all interconnected.
Yeah,
that's right.
Always good to have conversation. So hopefully the listeners had some fun on that too.
Yep. No, that's good information. And, this is all interesting things to talk about. We got to look at all sides and not jump to conclusions anywhere. We've got to be skeptical. We've got to analyze everything from a biblical point of view. So it's kind of interesting that you were talking about the siphon. I was just listening to a podcast with Justin Fall, and he was talking about in his hometown there's a place they called the hellhole.
Really?
People would go there and have all these rituals and seances, and there was all this graffiti. So it seems to be that there's a spot like this in every small town throughout America. So it'd be kind of interesting to hear from listeners if they had places like this in their hometowns. And
it seems to be caves and things that go underground, dark places, because there's the Malheur cave that has the Mason symbol engraved in it, and underneath the ground they have grandstands, and they would do yearly meetings in there. And I'm going, why? Why would a secret society go underground, do all the trouble, do that? Just do it in somebody's house.
Just to be creepy? Just because you want to be overtly creepy?
Yeah. And then put your symbol on the outside of this weird cave in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
I mean, that's... How can you explain that? And they say, oh, it's no big deal. We're just having fun.
You're not supposed to know about that. Just turn the other way.
Yeah. I mean...
Mind your own business.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, you just imagine being a small area, how much there is out there everywhere.
Yeah.
So
how many of your neighbors, I mean, name your, 5 houses to the right, 5 houses to the left.
Yep.
Exactly. How many of them are doing some creepy Satanism?
Yep.
Probably a lot more now than there used to be. That's what I can probably say right now.
Totally. Yep. They're becoming overt with it now. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's close this out. I had I'll play a song I don't know if I ever told you this, but I one time had a Satanist approach me about doing a rap battle with him years ago online. Ever
Wow.
tell you about that?
No.
And he said, I'm a Satanist, because I was sharing some of my music. And he says, I'm a Satanist. You know, your music sucks. It's stupid. How about you finish this song? And he sent me like a half a song finished that was just full of cursing and just, all about interacting with demons and going to hell and all this stuff, and doing in this dark, evil voice, And so I just
Yeah.
thought, like, man, I can't be. Why is this happening? Should I do this? Should I actually try to battle this guy? What should I do? And so I prayed about it, and I thought, and I just was given the answer to answer him in love. So I didn't battle him. I came back kind of answering him, asking some questions to him, like, what happened when you were younger, and put that in the rap. And he literally came back apologizing and said, I want to do another song about me asking forgiveness to God.
Wow.
And we did another song about him asking forgiveness. And then we ended up doing 4 songs together, all about his whole journey. And I sent him a Bible in the mail. He lived in St. Louis. He said he didn't have anybody around there that was Christian. All his friends were Satanists and into this stuff. He didn't know anybody that was Christian but me. And so I ended up sending him a Bible and keeping in touch with them. I still, know who he is today. He's still on my Facebook, and he's married today with kids, and looks like he's doing a lot better. He doesn't look like the Satanist he used to be. So, so it's kind of amazing how God can work, and and you never know what somebody's on somebody's heart, and how they're just maybe testing the water sometimes, and almost looking for someone to challenging them with. So I'm going to play that song, and the song is called Evil to Good, and you guys can check it out. So
Excellent.
Until next time.
In the dark abyss, we celebrate the savage. Believe it or not, it exists. I dismiss the evil you sick. I'm straight sick with all my issues. About to spit with no bullets. I speak of the reminiscence. Back in the past, you was an innocent man. It wasn't gonna last the night you got smashed. Someone gave a bad glance. You for the pistol fast. Started the blast. You felt the burning flesh. Got a bullet in your chest.
Started to enjoy the rest at the present time you be dead.
Still living from the bullets driven through your flesh. Keeping different living, no remorse given. You best sneak off, chill. Grandma take your ass down at Ill Hill and Will. Feels no pity for you. He's for real. You better sneak off, kneel.
This is the real deal, no need to conceal your screams.
Don't cry. Alright, now you got the grim piss next up, hell's spit, taking no dish on Lucifer's list. You feel the flames rage from the floor, open up the door to the dark lord, cut your time short. Flames catch you by the leg, taking you the dark town, only demons around, you best bow down to the dark lord as he takes his up sword, slashing, gashing. From now on, you got the demon within.
Behold, I send you out as sheep amidst the wolves.
You're the sheep, I'm the creep, I'll keep to the reap. This ain't no paradise you sleep. Down here we just torture beat up, set your bitch up, everybody 6 feet deep.
Arise, torch your soul, but be ready to grow. You got your seed firmly planted with your soul in a hole. Why do you bleed from the demons that have taken control? You have the need to believe but have forgotten your home. Back in the past you was an innocent child. Something defiled your smile, pushing your doubts, making you wild. Why didn't someone hear your cries, tears in your eyes, lies turning you into the man you despised? You might have tried doing right, giving the right path, the right set of circumstance, but now you're in a bloodbath. You battle like with a knife, playing with the devil. Babylon is coming and you're living on the same level. Praise given to the lost from the land of the living, breathing life to the dead. God's Son is risen. We are forgiven in His eyes. Paid the price, beside Jesus died and arrived, still alive. Prisoners free, destroyed your demon seed. Penalty on the tree and rose again on day 3. You and me and every knee bowed, tongue confess. Dressed in a white robe, safe from the devil's breath. You used to dance with the demons till you heard your mama screaming. Now you're kneeling at the cross with the second chance to freedom. Why don't you take the scales from your eyes, bury all the lies, turning back the hands of time, water to the wine. He's giving sight to the blind. If you're lost, you will find light shining while you're backsliding, riding on the dragon. Now you hear the roar of the lion knocking at your door, smiling at the horse circumstance that has happened. You blame the pain on the king. Now he reigns and you sing with your hands in the air. You wonder why you didn't see. You could be freed from the heartless, spark in the darkness, example to the godless. You could explain how you used to quote David Berkowitz until you found forgiveness through God's existence. This ain't a rap to tear you down, but lift you up to the true sounds of freedom and science. What's up?
Lord, please forgive me for my sins. I know I've done things in my life that you disagree with. I have little faith. I have grounds I need help with. Please give me the strength to overcome these issues. Please.
Rather serve in heaven than the brain in hell. I got my destiny, not the bleed for the demons. Time for me to supersede to the real Father who doesn't mind getting bothered. I discovered that my heart was turning black. I gotta get my life on the right track. Turn my back on the past. I don't think it matters. Life of mine was about to shatter. Trying to get my mind together. I committed more than one sin. Felt that God wouldn't listen. Like a collision, don't have the vision. Still in a mental prison. I'm waiting for the proof that God's Son has destiny led you. Tried to explain, the words came out, sounded the same. In my brain they seem to be burned by flames. I guess I'm a little insane, I'm the one to blame. Not reading the Bible as a child, yeah, I know it's a shame. My mind yells wrong from right and says religion is a game. People in my life could care less if I get blessed. Wear a crucifix, if I die today there'll be no bliss. Don't care if I exist, engulfed by flames, living in the abyss. I know I need help, new friends, new goals, new chance. I gotta get out of this trance. I cried for the first time in a long time. I see you coming slowly with life, feeling good for once, not feeling the fright. Do you understand my hate? Am I too late? Can I proceed through the gold gates? I know I made mistakes, I'm about to awake. Can you relate to my fate? I understand why you wouldn't go to church. I couldn't come in since I shouldn't. Now I messed up. Please help from now on. I got my chin up.
I can hear it in the sound of your voice and in your rhythm. Then now you know that you must be forgiven. Now you know that you need a new beginning. It ain't about religion, it's the fact we're all sinning. And God can take you and mold you and shape you and form you to the man that your friends will look up to. He'll throw away the pain in the past that controlled you and take you to the foot of the cross to forgive you. I hope someday that you will be a strong Christian man with a new life, living for the master's plan. Old mindsets trying just to understand, on your knees, praying for the Savior's hand. And though it seems like you're alone in the struggle, one lone soldier like the boy in the bubble, pouring out your pain in the microphone of troubles, there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Keep your chin up, even when you slip up, even when your past starts to creep up. Chin up, keep your back on the pain, cut the chains of the same old things that led you down the wrong lane. You're on the road to becoming a new creation, born again with a new destination. All the angels in heaven sing in celebration, and I'ma tell you right now, you got my admiration. I hear your story and you really inspire me. I give the glory to the King of Kings entirely. I try to see and explain the peace that God has given me, but fall short. How can I describe eternity? Faith for the faithless, father to the fatherless, hope for the hopeless, a home for the homeless. How can I approach this? Words can't describe this. It's all about finding true meaning and purpose. Father, I pray that you lead my new friend into a place of peace and happiness. Give him faith, God, and show him how much you love him and how important he is. Open the doors that you have prepared for his life and lead him into your will and salvation. Amen.